Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a wedding saga that's almost too good to be true. Picture this. A bride and groom, fresh off their wedding ceremony in the charming town of Frosinone, Italy, are starting their journey into wedded bliss. But wait for it. They're doing it with a bang by dashing off on their honeymoon without settling a staggering £7,000 restaurant bill. Our star-crossed lovers, a local 40-year-old construction contractor and his 25-year-old German bride, tied the knot in late August. With a picturesque poolside ceremony setting the stage, they hosted a lavish banquet for 80 of their nearest and dearest at a quaint Coqueria eatery. Everything seemed picture perfect until it was time to settle the tab. The restaurant owner, expecting a tidy sum for his services, was in for a rude awakening. The bride and groom didn't just skip town, they jetted out of the country, and their extended family tagged along for the getaway. Talk about an international escapade. The situation escalated to the point where the police got involved, hot on the trail of these honeymoon fugitives. This wasn't your run-of-the-mill wedding, it was a well-orchestrated affair, months in the making. The couple had even done a menu tasting and paid a deposit of €3,300 up front, agreeing to clear the remaining €8,800, including the deposit, within days of their nuptials. The wedding itself was a spectacle, complete with a civil ceremony officiated by a German priest and attended by a sizable contingent of friends and family. They feasted on a sumptuous fish menu, raising no suspicions that the bill would go unpaid. But as the days passed, the groom failed to pony up as promised. When the deadline loomed, the newlyweds had vanished into thin air. Desperate to resolve the situation, the owner tried to contact the groom, even reaching out to the groom's parents who had initially sampled the wedding fare. To his dismay, all efforts to track down the bride and groom were futile. It seemed they had pulled off a vanishing act right out of a magician's playbook, heading to Rome before jetting off to Frankfurt, Germany. The restaurant owner, Enzo Fabrizi, was flabbergasted. He had been introduced to the groom by a trusted friend of 2 decades, who had often frequented the establishment. To make matters more bewildering, the groom was purportedly on his 3rd marriage, and Fabrizi had been reassured that the bride's family was quite well off, with her father working in a German bank. The bill, it turns out, was no small change, coming in at approximately €90 per guest. Add in the decorative flourishes, flowers, and various extras, and the total ballooned to €400. The guests partied into the night, with most of them enjoying a spirited evening of food, dancing, and drinks. The groom, at first, seemed willing to settle up, shaking hands with Fabrizi and promising to return the next day with payment in hand. But lo and behold, the next day, the groom vanished into the skies, leaving Fabrizi and his unpaid bill behind. Determined to recoup his losses, Fabrizi vowed to pursue every avenue possible to recover the money he was owed. He even hinted at legal action to ensure justice is served. As the authorities hunt down the elusive honeymooners, we can only wonder if they'll ever return to Italy and whether they'll finally tip those patient waiters. One thing's for sure, this wedding saga is a feast for the imagination. This $3.8 million mansion has been hijacked by an Airbnb renter who has refused to pay and leave after 540 days. Check out this video to find out the shocking details.